Hey, and welcome to another episode of Strange Planet. Thank you, as always, for sticking me in your ear. How many people do you know in New York who would move into a haunted apartment simply because it's cheap? Actually, I'm betting probably quite a few, especially these days with the average price of an apartment over $5,000 a month. Well, that's what happens to characters Alex and Ben in a brand new horror film by director Allan Piper entitled Evil Sublet. They find their dream apartment in New York's East Village, a.k.a. the Evil, and they're like, who cares if it's cursed? The rent is cheap and it's got an eat-in kitchen. But when the bad roommate situation of living with murderous ghosts becomes too much for them, they must enlist the help of friends to escape the evil of their sublet. And happy to welcome to the program Allan Piper, the director of Evil Sublet. He's a filmmaker, commentator, strategist. For 4 years, he was the supervising politics producer for NowThis, the world's leading news outlet on mobile devices, where he helped lead coverage that reached 70% of Americans in their 20s. And during his tenure, NowThis audience grew by over 300%. His on-camera pieces have garnered over 145 million views on NowThis social media platforms. Piper's new movie, the horror comedy Evil Sublet, is the story again of a New York couple who knowingly move into a haunted apartment. Evil Sublet stars legendary television actress Sally Struthers and viral video performer Jennifer Leigh Houston. Allan and Jennifer, welcome to you both.
Thank you so much for having us.
Evil Sublet. So Evil, the East Village. Just orient me now. I'm looking at a map in my mind of Manhattan Island. Obviously, it's in the east, but is it, what is it, like 3rd, 2nd Avenue? How far east? Where is it?
It's First Avenue. At this point, it's not far from NYU. NYU is creeping further and further, but really historically, it is very much a blue collar area. That was where the old fabric district was down
yes.
there. So
Right.
part of it still is the lighting district. The delicatessen, Katz's famous delicatessen is a stone's throw from our apartment. So a lot of iconic East Village landmarks still around. But yeah, very much a sometimes Ukrainian, sometimes Polish, sometimes German neighborhood, depending on what year you're talking about. And now it's just filled with hipsters who want cheap rent.
And New Yorkers love to give neighborhoods funny little names.
Right.
Tribeca is for the triangle below Canal. Mm-hmm. Soho is the area south of Houston.
NoHo is north of Houston.
Dumbo is one of the most interesting nicknames, and that's down under Manhattan Bridge.
I don't know that.
As far as I know, before our movie, no one had nicknamed the East Village the Evil, which I'm surprised about. I mean, New York's got a Hell's Kitchen. We should certainly have an Evil.
Yeah, I used to live in Hell's Kitchen. So there's no neighborhood I haven't lived in. So
I have a feeling that Evil is going to catch on. I think so. It's very marketable. So before we get into the movies, tell me about Sally Struthers. We'll remember Sally Struthers as Gloria, married to Meathead on All in the Family. How did you get her involved in the picture? She's, from what I understand, she scares easily. So how did you get her involved in a scary movie?
Pardon me.
He is so popular.
That could be Gloria.
I apologize for that.
Sorry, no worries.
I thought that was turned off. Our technological devices now have it where even if the phone's ringer is off, it comes through the computer and stops everything.
That's too much thinking.
That was Gloria's father, Archie, saying, stifle.
Stifle.
Well, all right. Well, I will say, Sally, this is her first horror film. Mm-hmm. She is not a fan of watching horror films, but she is such a dedicated performer that I think that she would, she is what I would consider to be a very fearless performer. So I think she'd said that it was always on her bucket list to be in a horror movie, even though she doesn't watch them. And so we are just very fortunate to be the first people to cast her in such a role.
Yeah. And as how we got her was we are friends with her. We had never worked with her before professionally, but it's really interesting to me. I know my husband's writing voice so well. So as I was reading Evil Sublet for the very first time, I come across this character and I'm like, I'm just seeing Sally Struthers in this role. And I went to Allan afterwards and I said, oh, well, first of all, this is awesome. Thank you. I love you. Anything you want now, you have from me. But I said, did you write that character for Sally Struthers? And he was like, maybe. And I was like, what on earth makes you think that Sally Struthers is going to work in our little bohemian, low budget, ultra low budget horror flick? And he's like, ugh. So we did not ask her for a while. It took my greatest courage to actually, I mean, we text a lot and we talk a lot. And one day I just got my balls up and I said, dude, what are you doing? Will you be in our horror movie? She didn't even read it. She goes, yes. I was like, hold up. What, you haven't even read it? You have no idea what this man has written for you. It's something.
Her character takes some unexpected twists and turns.
But she's the leasing agent, right? So she knows the unit's haunted, and she's trying to. She's
the leaseholder. So for people who aren't used to subletting, which is very common in New York, often one person will rent an apartment, sign a lease with whoever owns the apartment, and then end up subletting it to someone else for any number of reasons. And it creates a situation where it's not always legal, and it creates a situation where the tenants don't, because it's sort of an under the table sort of arrangement, the tenants in a subletting arrangement don't have the full protections that
you have no
New York,
protections.
yes, that New York tenants would have.
So
she plays the mysterious leaseholder, and Jen's character and Charlie Tucker, who plays her husband, are the people who move into the apartment. And I don't want to reveal everything about how Sally's character plays out, but I will say that she brings so much to the role. And I am so impressed by her performance. There are times when she is hilarious, and I had to bite my hand so as not to ruin the take by laughing in it. And then there are moments where she's so poignant that I found myself tearing up. She's an incredible performer, and I'm utterly honored to have had this opportunity to work with her.
So just clarify something. I don't know the real estate law in the United States, but I think up in Canada, if a place is haunted, full disclosure, the real estate agent is supposed to relay that information to the prospective buyer or renter. I guess in this case, because there's no agent involved, they can skirt around that. Or is there a law? Do we know?
I'm not sure what you don't need to be told if it's haunted. I think there are laws that you do need to be told if the immediate previous tenant died in the apartment.
I believe that is as far as that goes.
But I will also tell you that many New York landlords do not adhere to either the letter or the spirit of the law.
No.
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
But Jen's character and her husband move in forewarned that the apartment has an evil history. But as I think many New Yorkers can relate to, and I think probably people in big cities around the world can relate to, the prospect of dealing with horrifying phenomena is potentially small for an apartment that has some room that you can afford.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, that's the way I feel. It was my apartment.
Our actual apartment. We know that it's true that people will live in an apartment where strange things happen because we're doing it.
As long as there's no blood, I'm happy to stay with whatever has been going on there all of these years.
Jennifer, the apartment in the movie was part of it was filmed in your apartment. And
yes,
so,
our apartment.
oh, it's your apartment collect. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's some paranormal activity happening in your apartment.
Strange things happen in our apartment. And I will say that sort of in this relationship, Jen is the Mulder, I am the Scully. I don't try to I don't say, oh, it is a ghost, it isn't a ghost. But I will say that things happen in the apartment that cannot be easily explained.
Such as?
Well, we don't want to give too much away because we put a lot of those things actually in the movie.
We actually captured some things happening.
Yeah.
And then used them in the movie. One of the things that sometimes happens in our apartment is, well, I'll tell you a different thing first. So we did a scene where supposedly an object falls off a shelf, which actually does happen in our apartment a good deal. But for the purposes of making a movie, we had the object fall off the shelf. But then it wasn't until I was editing the scene later that I noticed. So it's a picture frame that falls onto the ground and shatters. And we come into the scene when it has already fallen onto the ground, and Jen's character finds it. And it wasn't until I was editing the movie that I was looking at the footage and I noticed the picture frame on the ground is just sliding.
Yeah.
It's just moving very slowly for no reason that I can think. And that was something we accidentally captured in the movie. There's another moment, something that has happened several times in our apartment is that the bathroom sink will turn itself on. I don't mean it starts dripping. I mean
fully on.
Yes.
Lever raised.
And so one day, years ago, I don't say it's a ghost, it's a poltergeist. I don't know what it is. I just say things are happening. And as a curious person and a filmmaker, I want to document what's happening. So just on my phone, I filmed. First thing, I woke up in the morning, I walked to the bathroom, and the sink is just full going. So I filmed it. And then we actually used that footage of that in the movie. We had that happen to Jen's character. She steps into the bathroom, she pulls out a phone, and then it looks like you're seeing the perspective of her phone, but it's actually the perspective of when this really happened. But then, to add a twist onto that, shortly after we filmed that scene, we're filming other things in the apartment, and we'd left the bathroom normally, like the sink off and everything. And we come back into the bathroom. The sink is not on. The sink is off. But the drain has been stopped, and it has filled up to the very edge. So
I walk in to the rest of the crew that was there. There was a kind of a big cast. And I said, was somebody filling up the bathroom sink for a reason? And everybody goes, I didn't fill up the sink. Well, I mean, why would you do that? It's a very, there were 5 people there filming that night. It was an active restroom, if you will. And everybody said, I didn't fill it up. I didn't fill it up. I haven't even been in there. And there it was with just a full sink of water for no reason. And that's not the first time that that's happened. It is a brand new sink. It's not that easy. The everything's working properly. It requires a bit of effort to lift the stopper up. So,
and filling a sink to the very top
and then shutting
and
it off.
stopping. That's very specific.
That's very precise. How does the normally skittish Sally Struthers, how did she deal with that?
She didn't want to stay with us, that's for sure.
We had originally hoped that she would stay with us in the apartment.
We have a guest room. She prefers to stay with people. She does a lot of theater. She's almost always in a show. So she's either on the road, on a tour, at some, and staying at people's houses is not unfamiliar to her. And I thought, this is perfect. We have that, we'll save on hotel rates in Manhattan, especially in our neighborhood. But the minute she heard about the shenanigans, if you will, she was like, nope, I'm out. Hotel.
So we filmed, she agreed to film her scenes in the apartment. Fortunately, I think for her, most of her scenes occur outside of the actual apartment. But unfortunately, as we filmed the scenes in the apartment, nothing happened to her.
No.
So I'm very relieved about that.
Yeah.
Jen gave a stern talking to the apartment before she came in.
I did. I saged, I bay leafed, I rosemaried, I
Were you making a salad or were you chasing out ghosts?
I was chasing that ghost. I'm like pulling out all the herbs. I'm pulling out all the stops. I am Googling. I am calling people. I am, all of my friends who are, into whatever they're into. And anyway, nothing abated nothing until I called a professional and abated what was ramping up in our apartment.
It was definitely the case that strange things began happening much more frequently after we began. Strange things had always been happening. That was part of the inspiration for making the movie.
Right.
But after we started making the movie, it really did start ramping up.
And frankly, we're sitting here laughing like, oh, you're haunted apartment. Oh, isn't that hilarious? It's really, actually, it stopped being hilarious to me personally, because I was feeling attacked, if you will. And I don't mean physically. I mean, it was
like a spiritual oppression or something.
Yeah, it was too much. There was just a heaviness. I'm hearing voices and I'm perfectly sane. Knock on wood. I'm perfectly sane. No, and I was being awakened by voices calling my name. I was being touched. I was being tapped on the shoulder. I was having my hair tugged. It stopped being cute.
Well, one of the most alarming things you described was this specific thing that a voice gave you a command.
Yeah. Normally, as we started ramping up in the apartment, the past couple of years, I started, and it's going to sound mad, but really a few different voices always around the same time in the morning. It's like around 3, and I have horrendous insomnia. So here I am, like reading my Stephen King books, just waiting, or Edgar Allan Poe or whomever I was reading, but at first it would be just either I got a lot of hello, I got a few hi, and in this voice that I can't even describe, just so otherworldly. And I thought, God, am I dreaming? I've got the book open. I'm very much ensconced in my story. So I'm definitely, and it's not coming from outside. And then my name, Jen, with a question. And I'm like, yes. I didn't say that because I didn't want to wake up my husband. Who are you talking to? But not that long ago, I did start to be able to isolate, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to build some suspense. One particular voice started to come more frequently, and it was definitely a female, and she was definitely not okay. It sounded sounds still current, like she's suffering, to be frank. It's moaning as if on your deathbed. And she had never said an actual word to me before. She would always just go, as And one night I'm wide the hell awake, and very loudly she said, "Move!" And when I mean, I feel like I levitated off of the bed, and I was very shaken. That was not okay. The fear that it elicited in me was beyond anything that in my 20 years of being there have I ever experienced. All of that other stuff, I can handle. A book falling down, you want to move my stuff? Fine. You want to flicker the lights on? You want to break my dishes? You want to, say my name at the foot of the bed? You want to even touch my foot? I'm actually okay with all of that. What I'm not okay with was that.
Wow.
I'm not okay with her.
Well, just jump in right here. We're going to take a quick time out. Evil
Okay.
Sublet. Art imitating life, imitating art, imitating life. Jennifer Leigh Houston is the leading lady, and Allan Piper is the director. Back with more of our conversation right after this.
Every new season, we find a reason to improve our lives and our health. And C60 Evo organic edible oils deliver noticeable benefits quickly. A spoonful in the morning delivers energy and endurance all day long. And I sleep deeper and wake up feeling refreshed because C60 ESS60 works. Carbon-60 received the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1996 when it was used for industrial applications. C60 Evo's ESS60 is a breakthrough technology upgrading C60 to be safe for human and pet consumption. ESS60 has been called a miracle molecule because of the physical and mental benefits people are enjoying. Their lab has a proven track record of 31 years and thousands of happy customers across the world just like me. So, treat yourself, your friends, and your family to C60 Evo and use my link, EVRS, to get 10% off your first order. Again, my link, EVRS, to get 10% off your first order.
And we are back with director Allan Piper and Jennifer Leigh Houston, the leading lady in Evil Sublet. Takes place in an actual haunted apartment in the East Village, hence Eville, East Village. And this whole scenario reminds me of that story / joke where there's a couple walking down the street in New York, and there's a police line around this, I don't know, like a brownstone or a apartment, and the police stops the couple. You can't go, you got to walk around, you can't go through here. And they say, why? We just want to walk and visit. We're visiting friends in the neighborhood. No, you can't go here. There's been a horrible grisly murder. There's bodies everywhere. There's blood everywhere. And the couple says, well, we just have one question. Was that a 2-bedroom or a 3? So that's an old New York joke. Probably everyone in New York knows that joke.
Yes.
Evil Sublet. There's a very interesting story here that has to do with how this movie was crowdfunded.
Yes, we gave people who contributed to the movie the option to become ghosts in the movie. And so they sent us selfies, and we turned the selfies into ghosts and hid faces in the shadows, in the corners of the apartment. And I like the idea for a lot of reasons, one of which is it helped make it possible to make the movie. It also, as compared to a lot of other crowdsourcing strategies, it makes the people who contributed literally part of the movie. But then finally, it adds to the creepiness of the movie. So we're about to have our world premiere at the Coney Island Film Festival. And we've had a couple of small test screenings, and people will get really freaked out because they'll be watching a scene and then they'll realize halfway through the scene that this whole time there's been a face in the corner that they didn't even notice, and then they jump when they notice it. So it was a good tactic. Some of the faces are easy to spot. Some of them are very well hidden, and there are about 200 ghostly faces in the movie, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are some faces that we didn't put there in as well, but I haven't found any of those yet.
The old woman under my bed, move.
Lovely, lovely. Wow, that's a wonderful concept to include the crowdfunders in the movie in this way. It's a brilliant idea. You mentioned the Coney Island Film Festival. You shot some scenes at Coney Island on the Wonder Wheel, which is it's got to be one of the oldest amusement rides in America, and the Spookorama.
I believe that the Wonder Wheel is the oldest operating Ferris wheel in the U.S. Technically, it's more than a Ferris wheel. It's it's called an eccentric wheel, and I believe that it's the original. It's patented, and I believe it has been reproduced in 2 other places in the world.
One of them is Disneyland.
Yes, Disney's California Adventure. The Ferris wheel there follows the same model, and there's one in Japan. And so the family that run the Wonder Wheel is the Verderis family. And they have been they're very supportive of the community as a whole. And they've been very supportive of us and our filmmaking. And so they invited us in to film on the Wonder Wheel. The Wonder Wheel is 123 years old. I guess it turns 123 on Memorial Day weekend is when it'll be.
Oh.
And we also filmed inside the Spookorama, which is one of the nation's oldest operating dark rides. It's a pretzel ride where cars go through and go on a twisty, turny track and things jump out. Now, what's funny filming there is that Jen is legitimately terrified of the Spookorama. And so there is no acting taking place in the scene where she is getting scared going through. And unfortunately, I had to ask her to go through a few times.
It's furious.
And I was hoping that I could avoid sending her through one more time. And we tried to cheat. We'd made a music video in there several years ago, and so I tried to cheat some shots from the music video to play, because it's dark, it's the lights are flashing, and I was hoping no one would notice that the version of Jen that appears inside the Spookorama it has a short dark bob haircut. I thought, in the shadows with the lights flashing, you won't notice.
Didn't work.
And our producer, Beth
Where was the continuity person?
Well,
yeah.
See, that's the thing. Our producer, Beth Ann Master Marino, said, no, that's not going to fly. You've got to get new shots where Jen looks the way she does now. And so it's not my fault. It was Beth's fault that you had to go in one more time.
I don't know what my problem is. I will watch or read anything hard. There's not a movie that can scare me, but one automatronic thing, and I am just lost. I don't know. There's no explaining.
Are there some creepy clowns in the movie?
There are some. Yes, there is a very. Coney Island is known for what's called the funny face. It is a face of a grinning, a man with just a ridiculously wide grin, an inhumanly wide grin. And it's sort of, in a lot of ways, it sort of sums up the tone of the movie, because this is a horror comedy. So it's a grin because it's funny. It's delightful. We can all laugh at it, right? But there's also something just terrifying about it. And so a creator by the name of Brendan Schweda and Kevin Moe had created rubber masks to recreate the iconic Coney Island funny face. And so we have a character, a clown-like apparition that is wearing that mask throughout the movie, who provides some of the biggest scares. And that is played by Patrick Wall, the general manager of Coney Island, USA.
Yeah.
Any other performers from Coney Island Circus Sideshow make a cameo in the movie?
Yes, Adam Reelman, who is the creative director of Coney Island, USA, and is a strongman and sword swallower, does a sword swallowing act in the movie. And all I will say about it is that in our movie, we represent a sword swallowing act gone horribly wrong.
Oh, dear.
And you kind of have to be a brilliant you have to be a brilliant sword swallower to do a sword swallow that looks so wrong without actually going wrong.
Yeah.
So he's amazing in the movie as well.
Yeah.
And we have a ventriloquist performer, Carla Rhodes, who ventriloquist slash nationally renowned nature photographer.
Yeah.
And she's
like you do.
She
Sure.
is these days
Another one of those.
Yeah. These days she's more nature photographer than ventriloquist, but she came out of ventriloquism retirement with her 100-year-old doll to provide some very creepy moments in our movie as well.
Actually, you had me at ventriloquist slash. A friend of mine, his grandfather started a traveling circus sideshow in Canada. It's now called Carnival Diablo, and he has a wooden ventriloquist doll that he believes, and psychics have claimed that it is haunted. And they figured out it was carved. The same ventriloquist doll maker that made Charlie McCarthy made this ventriloquist doll, and they suspect the wood was carved from a hangman's tree.
Ooh. Wow.
There you go.
Well, we have no idea who carved Cecil Sinclair, and I don't know if he's actually haunted, but he scares the shit out of me. So that's enough. I just got the shivers. I don't care about my haunted apartment. Don't bring a ventriloquist doll to my house.
Yeah. Ever since Magic, he just ruined it for all of us.
Right.
Another time out. Back with more in a moment.
November reminds us to be thankful and focused on boosting our radiant health before winter. And I use a potent remedy that's improved the quality of my life and deepened my sleep as well. I take C60 Evo olive oil every morning, and I have a lot more energy and mental focus all day long. My workouts are easier, and I have a lot more endurance. If you're into competitive sports, this is a game changer. Health is our greatest wealth, and Pura C60 ESS60 really works. ESS60 is a breakthrough technology delivering the carbon-60 miracle molecule for humans and pets. Check out the C60 Evo holiday gift collections for everyone on your list. They make amazing skin, lip, and hair repair serum that deliver noticeable results quickly. C60 Evo's lab has an impressive track record of 31 years and, of course, my personal recommendation. You deserve the best remedies on earth, and so do those you love. Buy direct from the lab and upgrade your life today. Use my code EVRS to save 10% off your first order. Again, my code EVRS and save 10% off your first order.
Evil Sublet, starring Jennifer Leigh Houston, Sally Struthers, and directed by Allan Piper, and Jennifer and Allan are here. The Coney Island Film Festival. Your Evil Sublet is it going to debut there?
Yes, the world premiere is May 6th at 9 p.m. It is sold out, but we're so excited to premiere at this festival. It is the only film festival in the world where a person can go into a movie screening, see a great movie, and then come out and see someone swallow a sword or drive a nail into his face or go ride the Wonder Wheel or the Cyclone.
Yeah.
It really is a special film festival.
And it's on the beach.
Who could ask for more?
Yes.
I mean, come on.
Hammering a nail into your... What do they call... Are they called geeks or freaks?
Freaks.
Well, all right. So then hammering the nail, that act is...
Well, it's called the human blockhead.
It's called the human blockhead.
But they
and
refer
it was
themselves as freaks.
Well, yes, there are various types of freaks. These days, the Coney Island Circus Sideshow features a variety of what are called working acts, which is people who do incredible things like drive a nail into their face. The nail in the face is called the human blockhead, and that originated in Coney Island. Yep. A sideshow performer by the name of Melvin Burkhart created that act, and it has since traveled the world. It's a very fun sideshow thing to do because it is both dangerous and gross and a little bit funny. I mean, there's something pretty darkly funny about someone driving a nail into their nose, which is again, that is the tone that our film follows. It's the scary things that are also funny.
Yes.
Anyone that sets bear traps onto their hands or eats light bulbs, do you have any of those?
Yes.
Not in the film.
Not in the film,
but
Coney
Island,
just in the East Village on a typical Saturday night.
Yes.
It's yeah. Or as Allan likes to say, if there was an apocalypse and the zombies were to rise up, we wouldn't know.
That's right.
How would you know the just normies from the zombies? You wouldn't know. It's still got a vibe to it, the East Village. Yeah.
What are the plans for the movie? Other film festivals? Do you have a distributor? Are you close to getting?
We will soon be able to make announcements about upcoming film festivals and distributions. The idea is that we're going to spend some time playing at film festivals, building an audience, and then we look for it to be available more widely following that.
Now, is this a genre that you'd like to explore further, both of you, either of you, or is this kind of a one-off and you're going to move on to I don't know, comedies and other? Jennifer's nodding her head.
I will do anything. Whatever he wants me to do, I will do it.
I'm working up a new script for another horror comedy that is we've dealt with a haunted apartment. Now we may be dealing with a haunted car, and
he won't tell me yet. He wants me to wait until it's completely written.
The haunted car. And does that come from personal experience as well?
That does come from some personal experience.
Yeah.
I had, again, I don't try to say, I don't try to explain things that I don't understand. I just say it's an unexplained phenomenon. I had a car that every time that car crossed a certain on-ramp to the 405 freeway in Los Angeles, a voice would come out of the radio and say, "Mom," and I recorded it, and
on a cassette, because that's the year we're talking about here,
or an 8-track, yeah.
And I've actually edited that audio into Evil Sublet. And so there's a moment that doesn't take place in a car, but where Jen's character experiences something somewhat similar to that, and it includes some of the actual audio from it expands upon the audio that I recorded, but it includes some of the actual audio that I recorded from that car.
And by the car story, that was one of our, when we were very first dating, 16 years ago, this was one of the very first things that he shared with me, because he was walking, he had a digital recording of this, and we were talking about phenomena, and he said, I had something very unexplained happen to me. And he told me the story, and what he didn't tell you was this happened over and over and over and over again. And he started inviting people into the car with him so that they could witness it, because it happened to him every single time, including he invited a psychic.
Oh, yes.
To ride
when I invited the psychic, so she warned me. She said, well, I'm very accustomed to this. I said, I just want to know what's happening. If I don't say that it is a spirit, but if it is a spirit, it sounds like it's distressed. I'd like to help it. She said, well, I speak to spirits all the time. And what's that? Yes, no, I'm helping them. Don't worry. And so she seemed to be quite comfortable with the idea of it all. So this is fine. And so we go driving, and I say, now this pretty much always happens for me. It might not happen, she says, oh, no, I'll be prepared for it. We go driving through, we're coming up right at the spot. And as we pull through, the voice comes out and goes, "Mom." And the psychic goes, "Oh my God, it's real. What was that?" And so that's so she wasn't able to provide an explanation, unfortunately.
But you made it believe her.
Yeah, when he played it for me way back when, he said, I've never gotten an explanation. I've never been able to nail it down. He goes, would you like to hear it? And I was like, sure. He played it for me. I just quieted everything and he played it for me. And I immediately started crying. It went to my guts. And in a way that, again, I haven't really experienced before.
I'm sorry that things keep ringing.
Is that a fax machine?
It is my mom's basement. There is a fax machine.
That's it. Telex.
Is it a mimeograph? What is
Let me smell it. I love the mimeograph smell. Remember that from
Why?
school? Where can we get more information on Evil Sublet? If we can't make it down to Coney Island on May 6th for the world premiere, where can we find out more?
At evilsublet.com. And we are also Evil Sublet on Facebook and Twitter.
Fantastic. All right. Well, good luck on the 6th in Coney Island. No, you don't say good luck. I guess you say break a leg, right? Break a leg in Coney Island, and look forward to hopefully seeing it on the big screen sometime soon. Maybe at the Capitol Theatre in Brantford, Ontario, across the street from the Expositor.
So
that would all in.
That would be amazing.
Allan?
Well, Rick, thank you so much.
Thank you. Jennifer, thank you. Great to meet you both.
Thank you so much.
A new Richard Syrett's Strange Planet drops every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe at strangeplanetpodcast.com.